Hey, this is Zero at ReviewZoneHD, and I'm bringing you guys the final review for 2012 on my channel with Sonic and Allstars Racing Transform for the PlayStation 3. Now, back in April, I did a video for the top 25 racing titles that I own, and the original Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing dropped into the number 4 spot on that list, and it was without a doubt the best kart racer I had played on the PlayStation 3. This new title not only incorporates everything that made the last game great, but adds an entire new level of upgrades to push this one into an almost unknown territory, a game that can possibly decrown the beloved Mario Kart from the number 1 all-time spot. While it does have a couple minor issues to nag about, anyone that's played this game should agree this is one not to overlook. A lot of people may be a bit confused with the title being so similar to the previous game, but make no mistake about it, this isn't just a gloss-over remake with a couple gimmicks. It is a completely new sequel with new stages, new characters, and lots more. With all that said, let's go ahead and get into the review. If you got a chance to play MotorStorm Apocalypse, I'm sure you appreciated the way the courses evolved as you went through every lap, sometimes offering new routes and obstacles to dodge on your way. Well, that doesn't hold a candlestick to the types of transformations that you'll see take place on this game on a few of the tracks. Some tracks get completely blown away with the final lap taking place in a completely different vehicle altogether, such as the Skies of Arcadia course, in which you'll need to fly your way to the finish line. On other courses, you'll see parts of the track break away and change the route to the finish line, and with over 20 evolving tracks to play on, you'll never have to complain of getting bored with the track designs. Some may be a bit disappointed it's running at 30 frames per second instead of 60, but honestly, once you see this game in motion and feel the sense of speed that it can crank out, you're not going to be complaining about that issue. In fact, I would have never known about it had I not read it. One issue that plagued the last title online was frame rate drops, and after spending a few hours racing online, I can confirm that issue has been fixed, as I didn't see any slowdown or frame rate stutters, but I did notice a bit of lag among some of the other racers, but it never really impacted the actual race during any of the events that I played in. The biggest change and the best feature this game offers is the transformations. Aside from the fact that it makes a cool Transformer style sound effect when it takes place, the quickness of how it shifts the gameplay and the handling is what keeps every race exciting. I personally can handle the car and airplane forms with no problems, but I'm still trying to master the boat form, as all three handle completely different. As far as the tracks go, they were all created with tons of room, regardless of the form of your vehicle that you're currently racing in. I rarely ever ran into objects on the track, and unlike other kart racers, you're not really focused on trying to dodge a lot of obstacles. The key to winning on here is mastering the drift while keeping the pedal to the floor, hitting the turns properly, and making sure to pick up as many power-ups along the way as possible to take down anyone and everyone that dares to get in front of you. The power-ups also felt very balanced regardless of what position I was in, and none of them felt like a cheap free pass to get into first place. There were also ways to play as much defense as offense with them, so if you're in the front of the pack, you can protect yourself from getting taken out at the last minute before you cross the finish line. This sequel also feels leaps and bounds faster than the original, and it definitely offers more content to keep you busy as you play through the game. I really love the fact they added a new mod system that allows you to alter your favorite driver's stats. It's not going to give you much in terms of an advantage over the other drivers, but it helps bring balance between them and allows you to tweak your favorite driver to meet your playstyle. The biggest problem that I had with F1 Race Stars last week was the game's balance, or lack thereof, and its cheap tactics and how it attempted to make the game challenging. This title, on the other hand, is on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. If played on the hardest difficulty setting, the challenge is definitely there. In fact, I had a couple missions in the campaign career mode that had me retrying for a couple hours. But I never once got frustrated with this game because it doesn't use cheap tactics to make anything challenging. It truly tests your own skill level, and when you fail in the game, all the blame is on yourself. It does set the bar pretty high for making some near perfect runs, but it also makes it very clear what needs to happen and how to learn from your own mistakes. I do, however, have one complaint, and that is with the flying mechanics. It can be a little wonky. If you do manage to make contact with anything, the camera can jitter or spaz out for a moment as the game tries to figure out what just happened. And I noticed this happen in a couple other areas outside of the flying as well, but of course you won't see this happen as long as you don't nosedive into walls or asteroids. And honestly, once you play a track a few times, avoiding obstacles won't become much of an issue, but when you're first learning the routes, you may notice some issues with the camera. This is the best budget disc title that's released this year, one of the best sequels, the best overall kart racer for the PlayStation 3, and one could argue the case that it may even be better than the Mario Kart games. And that's saying a lot from someone that would buy a new Nintendo console just to play some Mario Kart, and also someone that prefers Nintendo and Mario over Sega and Sonic. I've never really been a huge fan of either the Sega system or Sonic, but the great thing about this game is even if you strip away all the levels of Sega nostalgia and just focus on the core gameplay, it would still be top dog in the kart racing genre. There's not a lot that I would change or add to this one. It feels just right where it is, regardless of if you intend to do some hardcore online domination on here or just casually playing it offline by yourself or with a friend or two. This is one title that you should take a serious second look at if you haven't already picked it up. I could fill this entire review with just praise of how fun and great this title can be, but I think this one does the talking for itself, and if you spend a little bit of time just watching some gameplay for it, I think you're going to see that as well. Either way, it's a title that I highly recommend if you enjoy any type of racing game. Anyways, this is Zero at ReviewZoneHD, and thanks for stopping by.